Hey, it's Pete Checkley for Sample Library Review, and today I have a great collection from Silence and Other Sounds. We'll be looking at Maleventum Volume 2 and also the 2 mystery boxes. In recent years, Silence and Other Sounds have produced some of the greatest boutique horror and sci-fi libraries, featuring off-the-wall sampling and twisted sound design for instrument-based effects and genuine moments of extreme horror. Libraries such as Stringake, Pain Piano and Zithergeist are unmatched in their genre. More recently, Silence and Other Sounds have added more playable and unique instruments in the guise of their horn collection, Maleventum. Featuring playable horns, killer sound design and some MP functionality, it's an absolutely fantastic library. Today we are taking a good look at Malaventum Volume 2 with a focus to pre-Columbian ethnic flutes. As a bonus, we'll be seeing what the 2 mystery boxes are all about too. Malaventum 2 downloads at 5.57 gigabytes and is a collection of Native American flutes. It features phrases, legato instruments, effects and also MP multis. Mystery Box Volume 1 Bow Experiments downloads at 1.37 gigabytes and Mystery Box Volume 2 Resonances downloads at 1.51 gigabytes. All require the full version of Contact 5.8.1 or later. Malaventum Volume 2 sells for $59 and the mystery boxes sell for $29 each. Here we are with Malaventum 2. This is a library all about ethnic American flutes. Now, I've started off with the legato instruments, which are right down the bottom, but you can see we have all these designed phrases, designed sound effects, original phrases, and original sound effects too. There are also some MP multis, and then we have our 4 legato flutes. So I've loaded up the Tlapit-Zali flute, hopefully I pronounced that correctly, and this is what it sounds like. So at the box, sounds absolutely great, but there's a lot going on already with the instrument. Now, you can see we have different keys down the bottom. Our red keys are our melodic. So our playable flutes. And then we have the purple keys, which is a drone. And of course you can move the drone to different notes. And you can control that and change the drone to a variety of different drones. And then also you can turn that off if you don't want to use it, and we have these textures. Now if you put a texture on, it will add a texture layer to your melodic instrument. So you can hear that in the background. Now these are the 3 playable options. I'm going to turn the mic off and play these out of the box and just see what we get. from those little examples, you can hear that you have that amazing ethnic flute quality from all of the instruments, and they all sound very, very different. Now, the instruments you're not going to find elsewhere. They're very sort of almost like bespoke or unique to this library, and there's a lot going on with each one. So I'm looking back at the Tlapizali flute, and if we go to the top, there's a couple of options. So if we start off with the ornaments, you can hear at the start of the sample there's little bits of ornamentation. You can turn that off to make your melodies flow a lot more. So when you play the sample, it will hit the note. And also depending which sort of round robin you're playing, you'll get a different performance. So I played the C three times differently, and you could hear and actually see on the WAV representation it was different. It looks like there's 4 of those. And you can turn mono legato off, so you can combine 2 notes at the same time, or several. You can make some really cool like walls of sound. Now, for me, the bottom bit is absolutely magical. If I just turn the textures on, straight away it is instant cinema. And you have all these different options of different textures. So I'll just go to Amazonia Calling. And let's try another one, Divine Speak. I combine that with the drone. And it just sounds absolutely ace. They have different octave shifts. You could do this with the drones as well. And also you can change the volume of the texture, the attack, the release, and then you have a low pass and a high pass as well. So really, really simple controls. And then on the drones, you have exactly the same, and you have different drones that you can choose from. So let's go for the horn. Again, that just sounds like instant cinema. And you have all these different reverb options as well. So I'll just load up Airy Metal. I'll do the CPU ticker on the right, so I can see it's actually not sort of very intensive when you're using all these different impulse responses. So of all those options, that is the Legato instrument section of Malaventum 2. And the reverb's still going. Fantastic. The next part of the instrument we're going to look at are the design phrases. Now, I've loaded up the Flute of the Mountain, and all you have to do is just press a key. And then you get those natural playing techniques. So there are a stack of phrases, as you can see by the blue keys at the bottom. And they do vary. Now you can add a texture as well. To fill it out a lot more. And then there's a few other options. So if I turn texture off, we have a global tuning. And one thing is so cool, if you drop it down to 36, these sort of drones and beds are really, really sinister. Sounds absolutely brilliant. And then on the left, we have extend, and that will actually turn the colors of the keys to purple, and you can play whichever sample you clicked extend on across different pitches. So it's very useful when you're trying to match all of these pitches into your project. So I'll turn that off. And then we have loop, so you can set 2 different loop points. Actually, I will change the phrase. And that is seamless looping, and you can just have the start exactly like that, and that yeah, you can create some really cool just sort of little fragments or pulses or textures. Now we have an edit page. You can change the volume envelope, so use that one. So have a much slower attack. And then you can change high pass and the low pass filter as well. And then you can change the shape of the wave, the LFO rate, and we're back to our main. Now on the right hand side, obviously we have our attack there. If I just turn the texture back on, it will change the attack and the release, etc. of your texture. So it's a really quick attack. In fact, just to illustrate this a bit more, if I bring the volume down, there's our texture. So you've got a really slow attack and a really quick release. So you have all of these different sort of parameters you can change. Okay, and then you have the mapping, and you can actually map different CCs, which is very, very useful. But you can see there's 5 of them. So if you are using MPE, you can actually map different MPE parts, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. And then the effects. So you have, again, different reverbs, which is yeah, really, really useful. And you can change the size, frequency, mix, and obviously the pre-delay. So you can make them absolutely massive. This is going to be quite big. Okay, so that's all, again, very, very useful. Now, if we just move to the next one, and again, we have a lot more design phrases. Brilliant. And then let's move on to wailings. I should actually allow it to load. There we go. And the last one is spiritual flute. So from a sound design point of view, absolutely brilliant, and you can see there's a lot of potential for uses for these sort of really unique phrases. The next section are the design sound effects. Silence and Other Sounds, they consistently do incredible sound design and effects and instrumental effects. If you make horror music, for example, the other libraries I mentioned, like Stringake and Pain Piano, they are absolutely top notch for this kind of thing. They're just mangled, they're twisted, they're horrible. And these flutes are exactly the same. So again, you have all the same controls. I'm just going to add a texture. And I will turn the texture on this time. So if you're a horror writer especially, these are absolutely brilliant. So these are the screams and the creatures. And I'm going to add the next instruments and just hear what these sound like. And again with the texture, I'm just getting random ones out now. Yeah, they just sound absolutely incredible. Let's go for the horns and didgeridoos. There we go. And I have to try it. Yeah, that's just tension, fear inducing. It sounds awesome. Let's add a texture as well. Whoops. Yeah, sound design, really typical Silence and Other Sound standard, as in it's really, really brilliant. And then we have the original phrases. So these are just the dry original recorded phrases. So I'll just run the Cavall flute. So they're a bit quieter, and obviously with these phrases you can add your own effects. If you want to use third-party effects, that's obviously your call, and turn them into something different. But it's a really nice feature to have, and you have the same with the effects as well. So if I add the death whistles. It just sounds absolutely evil. Here's a war trumpet. So it's this point where I need to remind, at full price, this is $59. The value for money is absolutely exceptional. And there's one last part we haven't talked about as well, which is if I go into the MP multis, you can just load a multi. Now the multis you just load up, so, and give them a little bit of time to load. And I'm using my C board to trigger the different multi-instruments. And then depending how you sort of use your C board, if you touch glide, there's a little bit of touch there. It affects the sound to make it a lot more evolving. So you got all of these different MPE multis. So let's go load one more up. And again, like I say, you have to give them time to load. So you can see they've all loaded in now. And as obviously it's very important to make sure your DAW is receiving multiple MIDI channels. But yeah, so you get all of these different MPE parts, and yeah, there's loads to choose from. So awesome. So before we move on to the mystery boxes, I'll give some thoughts about Malventum. It is just like the horn version, as in Malaventum 1. Malaventum 2 is cinematic, got some amazing samples, very, very bespoke, and the sound design is absolutely incredible. So if you're looking for something to colour your cues, or you're doing a lot of tension, a lot of horror, Malaventum 2 will work really, really well, but it'll equally work for meditation music, obviously film cinematic music, and you're getting something, especially for $59, that is completely unique. So for me, Maleventum 2 is a brilliant purchase, and definitely something every composer should have in their toolkit. Next up, we have the mystery boxes, and the mystery boxes are 2 volumes at the moment. The first one is called Bow Experiments, and the second one is all about resonances. So I've loaded up the bowed waterphone. Now, if I was to play it, you can hear it's a experimental bow library. Let's just play another one. So they're long evolving bow sounds. They got some really sort of harsh horror frequencies, and yeah, they sound absolutely great. And they're in lots of different categories. So if I load up the deformed violin, and again, give it a little bit of time to load. There we go. So yeah, the sound design is obviously very cinematic, very, very horror driven, and very, very unsettling. Now you have all the same controls, you have different pitches, so same as Malaventum, you can change the overall volume, the attack, the release. Then you have the low and the high pass filters, and then you can change the resonance. You can also click the extended range to map whichever sample you want across the keyboard. So on and so forth. And that's what the instrument does. So it plays all of these samples, and then you have a chance to manipulate them. And of course, you can add your own effects. Now, remember, these are €29 each, or $29. So really, for what you get, 5 different categories, there is an absolute stack of sounds you can use. That hits awesome. So it is very unsettling. Let's go to some string scrapes. Very nice. And just the last string scrapes. And then I will talk about the big sort of lock sequence at the top in a minute. So very, very ambient, experimental, horrific. Sound design is incredible, as usual. And then this lock, I'm just moving it around. Don't need to think about it too much anymore. It was Silence and Other Sounds' really great promotional idea. If you crack the code, you'll get, I think it was a voucher for some money off another library. And I really like the idea. And if I open up the mystery box to the resonances, I believe it will have the same as well. And it is a current promotion at the moment for a hidden code over at 0G, I believe. So I'm not going to crack the code or do any of that. It's really straightforward to do. Now, the Mystery Box 2 is all about resonances. So I've loaded the springs. You can see it's exactly the same. Now, if I scroll down just as low as I can, there's nothing in terms of effects, which if you're not too keen on the sort of baked-in reverb, I can't find a way, if I'm clicking around, to actually change that at the moment. But for me, it doesn't bother me at all. In fact, for, I don't know, this kind of effect stuff, I might add a little bit more. So this is what the spring sounds like. Yeah, they sound, I don't know, they've got a lot of weight behind them. Yeah, they sound brilliant. Heavy impacts. I'll apologise for any speaker noise. They're okay, they're not too loud. It actually is one of my pet hates when you open up a library, you're on 0 dB, nothing else going on, and then you press a key and suddenly everything goes into the red and peaks. One thing I love about every single Silence and Other Sound library is across the range, as soon as you load them up and you start playing with them, nothing peaks, nothing distorts, it's all sort of very carefully put together. Anyway, here's a metal timpani. They sound absolutely brilliant. Let's go long stretched. Again, just give it time to load. There you go. Yeah, again, like I say, it's very horror and tension driven, but they sound absolutely amazing. The power and depth, and then the resonances. Yeah, surreal chimes. It's all very evil. In a good way, obviously. Let's move on to clocks and rhythms. A personal favourite of mine. Absolutely brilliant. And I love how they're looped. And then granular tones. And then some bonus material, and why not? Okay. So that's the second mystery box. Both the mystery boxes just contain lots of incredible sound design, amazing samples. I mean, I wouldn't even know where to begin sampling these kind of sounds. And it's just so well put together. Incredibly simple. And I mean, for $29, you're getting so much value for money. So my final thoughts about Malventum 2 and the two mystery boxes. The sound design is absolutely amazing throughout, and the sampling is absolutely spot on. The Maleventum flutes, they are very, very playable. You can go from absolutely evil sounding, horrific things to some beautiful, serene flutes that you could use in meditation music. And then with the mystery boxes, yeah, they are quite experimental, but they are sounds you're not going to find anywhere else. If you're a trailer composer, a crime composer, media composer, whatever composing you do, you could find places for these sounds, and it just shows what quality Silence and Other Sounds is all about. I do highly recommend going onto their website and looking at previous instruments. I'm a huge advocate of Payne Piano, for example, and String Ache. They are just, like I say, unique and so usable, and again, really, really good value for money. Thank you so much for checking out this video on Malventum 2 and Mystery Box 1 and 2. If you like the instruments, feel free to leave us a like and a comment explaining what you like about the instruments and what your overall thoughts are. If you haven't done so already, it would be great if you could subscribe to our channel and pop over to samplelibraryreview.com to check out everything that's going on in the world of virtual instruments. Have a great day, and we'll catch up soon.